And we're back. Okay, so let's do this. Go to Ghost and talk to the guy. Here in the park, the gods solely control fate. Today, 10 years from the day we meet once again. If that isn't the power of the god, then what else is it? It could be coincidence. But apparently, you know our little lady detective here. Could you tell us about it? About what happened 10 years ago? Yes, of course. I was actually about to do that. Just that. Rock of the Gods. What's this Rock of the Gods you keep mentioning? You don't know? It's right there, in front of us. And then she runs to the place. When Missile died. Missile. Wait a minute. You said GODS, but do you mean DOGS? Of course not. Don't be silly. This is no time for ridiculous word games. You're standing just above the Rock of the Gods now. Take a look at the monument. Monument? Rock of the Gods, Temsek Park. The Rocks of the Gods. The rock is buried in the ground right there. It's been there for these 10 years. Ever since that day, it flew down from the heavens and showed us a miracle. A miracle? So this is the rock you've been talking about. Is it a meteorite? Meteorite. Whatever, I can't pronounce it. Precisely! It dropped down from the sky on that day 10 years ago. Yes, of course. Surely you know about it. Me? 10 years ago. That day I just happened to be passing through the park. I had no idea that day would change my destiny. The sun was going down, and though the groom, I heard the scream of a little girl. Eek! Now just come down and drop that weapon. Stay back. If you come any closer, I'll shoot her. I peeked out fearfully from the bushes and saw some shadowy figure. I didn't see the face of the criminal clearly. I knew I should do something to help, but I couldn't move. The tension was so thick, it was painful just when I couldn't stand any longer. That's when it happened. The sky suddenly burned bristly white. And as you can guess, the rock fell down in the ground. When it crashed into ground, the meteor gave off the sound of the beautiful fragment. And then I saw it. One of the beautiful fragments pierced into the criminal's back. The judgment of the gods was brought down on the park that day. "10 years ago, the little girl that was you was saved by the rock of the gods." Oh my! I can't believe it! The rocks of the gods were given the name Temsek, and still today, it lies sleeping deep in the park's earth. Temsek. I never knew about this Temsek. I always thought Detective John was the one who saved me. You were very young then, and you passed out from the shock being taken hostage. Of course you wouldn't remember. But that's funny. A huge incident like that should have caused quite a stir. It's strange you never heard of it, Lee. It is, isn't it? But now that I think about it, I remembered I didn't want to think about what happened. I avoided the news and never came back to this park again. That's why I didn't know anything about it. The meteor was named Temsek after the name of the park that fell in. and then the Rock of the Gods were forgiven. Now that's an awful thing is happening, and they're turning this turn into I can't. I'll never forget the miracle I witnessed that day, and so I taken up resistance in this park, and I'm trying to appear to the people. Protect the park, the Rock of the Gods. That is my mission. I see. I'm taking you with me, Missile. So 10 years ago, the little girl that was lean wasn't aware of this meteorite. I can't pronounce it. I get that, but Detective John on the other hand, there's no way he didn't knew about this tempsick thing. And if he knew, and then the man died and took his life. What was that confession of his all about? The Rock of the Gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago changed the destiny of many people's lives, like a ripples on a pond when a petal is dropped in. With every answer I get, I learn about a new mystery. Will I ever to break the chain of mystery before dawn? Anyway, now that I have the evidence we need, we decided to meet up again at the minister's office. Besides, there are a few things I wanted to ask Detective John. We found the music box, Detective John. Good job, Lean. I knew you would. Once everything has been resolved, I want you to give this to him. Him? You mean Inspector Camelina, right? I don't suppose he'll ever forgive me. Detective John. Now then, let's get the things open. There's certain crack to doing it, you know. See? He called that a knack? Looks like a brute strength to me. Hang on, I'm gonna get the phone. Here you are. Yeah, we'll be right back. And we are back. You should find them Scott mark in the grip. Scott marks? When Camilla built her contraption, she used a special kind of string. It's kind of magician use, burns up instant and disappears. Why would the little Camilla use something like that? I don't know. Maybe because she's a detective's daughter. Not leaving any evidence behind at all. Haha. In the case report, there was a mention of some Scott mark. And then we had to see it again. Whew. This really... When it happened, Camilla was watching from her hiding place. She saw the frame run to the gun, something she naturally did, including her design. I took the gun out of the frame and replaced it with a picture. If you remove the picture, you should find a Scott mark behind on the frame too. And those marks should match up with the one with the gun. In other words, it proves the contraption existed just in that room that day. And I did work the way your little girl intended. Is that right? Exactly. Some of the country modified this design, but that angle was never brought up in this court. And so, as Justice Minister, I must call off the execution at this point. I knew I was right. It wasn't Detective John. Now we can finally prove that. Thank goodness. Thank you, Lean. In those eyes of yours, I see the eyes of that little girl from 10 years ago. Trick time! And now, we have to talk to Detective John. Caesar, if you haven't come out to my set tonight, I wouldn't be gone by now, without ever having known any of this. This is what I deserve. That's what I told those past 5 years, but things are different now. Thanks to you, my eyes have finally been opened. Tonight, I come into contact with a lot of people's lives and get involved in their fates. The only reason I was doing it was to regain my own lost memory. But things are different now. We are connected to each other. Somehow, I just know it. And that's why I need to ask you a few more questions in order to find the truth about us. Fair enough, fire away. Okay, let's find out the truth. Manipulator. Caesar told me about the Detective John, about the manipulator. Yes, and it looks like this manipulator really did a number on the minister too. Ugh! Please don't pick on the minister. If he died again, I'm the one who has to save him. Ooh. Caesar, do you think I was that what happened to me too? What are you talking about, Lee? Don't tell me. You were manipulated too. You were. Well, there was always part of me that I couldn't believe it. That the image of the one who sought me. But now I see the possibility of new explanation. But who is it? And why did they do it? Camilla's contraption. That contraption was a birthday surprise for Camilla's mother, wasn't it? That's right. Something been bothering me about it. I feel like I know that device from somewhere. Now, surprise there. You lost your life once tonight because of that machine. Right, I knew it. See, Detective John? No, I'm afraid I don't see. And yeah, I told Detective John about it. Told him I was seeing the exact same contraption tonight in a complete different place. Which is very weird actually. That's very strange indeed. A junkyard on the edge of the town. I never ever heard of the place. And now what's more, I never told a single soul about that contraption. You haven't? That old peasant guy. Who in the world is he? Temsek. Detective John, you must have heard this name before. Temsek. The video that fell in the park 10 years ago. You were there. So you found out about that, did you? I hear that meteor saved the little Lean's life. That's right. I couldn't do anything to help Lean that day. But in that case, I don't get it. If that's the truth, doesn't it mean you didn't steal somebody's life away? What are you talking about? Detective John, you told me that 10 years ago, the person who killed the perpetrator in the park was you. What? But it was the meteor. I wasn't lying. I stole the man's life away. No question about it. That's entirely my fault. I was about to shoot him. I would have shot him if the next instant if the meteor hadn't come. At that point, I was already a murderer. That's not true! You were trying to save me. Lee, I'm sorry, but I don't think that really is. Huh? What? The truth about 10 years ago. On that day, 10 years ago, a different incident happened in another place. Another place? Yes, in the police headquarters. In the case room. The worst sort of incident or suspect who has been questioned escaped. Wow, I didn't knew about that. I happened to be there in the detective division, so I joined the case. Fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, I was able to track him down alone in the park. Hold him right there! I fired a warning shot. I wanted to catch him bad. That warning shot made him panic. And that time, I was young and green detective balancing my sense of justice like a sword. I made him panic and I got you involved, Lean. It was all my fault. Detective John. All I could see was my target. Couldn't even see you. I'm so sorry, Lean. So that's what's the truth of everything. So the man who grabbed me that day, these last 10 years, I never forgotten his face. And then a few years after that, when my life Alma died in such a mysterious way, I thought it was my fate, my punishment for what I'm doing, what I have done. So he's painting in this, remember the painting? I painted pictures in my cell, nothing but portraits of people's faces. All the faces of many people I met in their life and didn't want to forget. And tonight, I finished my last portrait, the final face I wanted to remember. The final face, the face of the man in the park that day. Wait just 1 minute! That can't be! I saw that painting! The saw painting you painted tonight! That's right, guys! Detective John saw Caesar's face! It was my face! Are you telling me I was the man in park that time? That's right. The face of yours is the face I saw 10 years ago. The face of the man whose life I stole, of the man who was pronounced dead at the scene. But hold on, Detective John. It can't be true. I just met Caesar for the first time tonight. And he died right in front of me. By the way, the name of that I know of the man in the park that day by isn't Caesar. What? For the first minute I laid my eyes on you tonight, I've been wondering, who in the world is this guy? Get a phone call! Mr. Minister. Inspector Cavallina, what are you doing? Just be quiet and listen. This is our demand. What? Demand? Our demand hasn't changed. The execution must be tonight. Once we confirmed it's been carried out, we'll be released the hostage. What are you talking about, Inspector Cavallina? And you know it wasn't my daughter who was abducted. Does it really matter who's the hostage is? A life is a life, even if the death of the dead were a prisoner. Once the criminal gets the punishment he deserves, the hostage will go free. Carry out the execution immediately, and I want for our call. And that's it. What is it, Mr. Minister? You look paler than ever. What in the world? What's going on? Inspector Cavallina! The rock of the gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago twisted the fate of many people and started a chain of tragic events. And even now, the chains continue to grow even longer. Inspector Cavallina called to prove that to us. We have to know who is that guy. And the greatest mystery of the has risen to the surface. Who is this me I've been chasing all night? Who am I? I'm even further knowing that than when I started. That's the episode! Pretty long, isn't it? Oof! Well, that was fun. But it brings a lot of suspense, I would agree. Who is this guy whose Detective John saw his face 10 years ago? We'll find out next time. Because this is the Weirdo Maxim signing out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.